What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of the Cross My Path podcast. On this podcast, we discuss music, tattoos, or apparel. Today, we will be talking about apparel with my good buddy, owner of Railcar Fine Goods, Mr. Steven Dang. How you doing, bro?
Good,
Awesome.
man.
Good to see you, man. So let's get right to it, man. It's been now 10 years with that Railcar Fine Goods has been around. Am I off a little bit?
I think maybe a year or two. I don't know, maybe 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Awesome.
close. We're close.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's start from day one, man.
Yeah.
Where it started. What inspired you to get something like making jeans?
Not one
Um,
thing actually. No inspiration. No specific like anything that just made me do
Mhm.
it. It was literally all completely accident. Everybody, and I get that question asked a lot, and it's complete accident. I never worked at a clothing store. I'm not like a fashion person.
Mhm.
I don't have like a cool story where like I needed jeans and the only pair of jeans was my grandpa's jeans that I
Yeah.
pulled out and I fell in love. I don't have like a cool jean
Uh-huh.
story. I don't.
When did you decide, hey, I want to make a pair of jeans? I just want to see if I can make a pair of jeans or learn
It,
how to
it,
make a pair of jeans.
a long time ago, I had a friend that he wanted to make jeans, and so I helped him out here and there. We had a project with each other, didn't kind of work out, and it was like women's stuff. And then afterwards, we stopped doing that together, and then we predominantly did women's stuff. And then I was thinking, like, I was at home, I was thinking, like, man, I'm gonna make some jeans for myself. I want to make some men's jeans.
Mm-hmm.
So then I bought a sewing machine and started making jeans. Started making men's jeans that we never really did
Wow.
before, and I, uh, I made my first jean, and then kind of like went on from there. I bought
Mhm.
3 sewing machines, put them in my house. Um,
And do you remember by any chance what year that was when you started doing that?
that's got to be like 15 years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's got to be like 15 years ago. I bought like 3 sewing machines, and that was just by hobby. I want to make
Mhm.
some pants for myself to wear.
And did you look up how to make jeans, or somebody had showed you? I mean, I know you said you didn't have any schooling or anything,
Yeah,
so you just somebody said, hey, check it out,
no, I
or you
literally
just went for it.
I just went for it. I got some pattern paper. I kind of looked at a pair and kind of like drew it out, and that didn't work. And then I drew another pattern, and that didn't work. And all this time and money that I spent kind of like trying to like draw like some pants that didn't
Hmm.
work, and then one thing led to another, and I started making pants. That's like it's
That's
yeah, and
great.
it was all hobby at the beginning. It was all hobby.
Yeah,
It was no.
because you were working a full-time
I was
gig.
working. I had a good full time gig job. I
Hmm.
was just working there, and I was just doing this on the side, not for a business, but as a hobby.
Yeah.
And maybe not even a hobby, just me being cheap. I just want to make my own pants.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just started making pants. It was like I had no intentions of making
A
a
brand out of
brand
it.
or a company out of
Hmm.
it. It's
Wow.
yeah.
And then a couple of years passed, and you were just still doing it, and then
Yeah.
things just started getting
Yeah.
better and better, and
Yeah, just make jeans, and I was learning. I was going along, and then I had sewing machines, so I was doing little side jobs here and there for sewing, and I was learning, and I was learning and kind of getting paid at the same time with the
mhm.
little side jobs, a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there. Um, but I was learning though, and then I land, then I had sewing machines on my driveway, in my garage, in my room.
Yes.
Then it became like a super hobby where I was just buying machines and trying to put them together
Mhm.
and learning how they worked.
Yeah,
Each
you got some
different,
old school ones
yeah,
too.
each machine is like it's like a musical instrument. Like
Mhm.
if you can use this machine and fix this machine, it's completely different as like that style of machine. Like that machine is completely different than another machine, and
Mhm.
so forth. So I just got kind of hooked on buying machines and trying to figure out how what I can do with them. So even if it was a
Yes.
stitch that was like, okay, this is kind of a weird stitch, I kind of figure out how to like apply it to like something that I'm making. That's why
Mhm.
everything looks kind of like how it does.
Wow.
So it's completely by accident, and then it turned into a hobby, and it turned into a sewing machine hobby, and then from a sewing machine hobby, then I started
You
like
started
making
picking up,
clothes
huh?
after that. So I actually have a school degree of electronics, and then I'm a mechanic by hobby. So that's where my
Mhm.
my background is more electrical, mechanical, and more of a like a working
Yeah.
person more than a fashion person for sure. But I guess that's what I
Yes.
do now. So, but it didn't. It definitely that's not what I was or
Hmm.
what I started.
Yeah.
I guess life to
I
be.
remember you had the solid job, and
I had a good job.
you you were yeah you worked for the Metrolink, right? You're
Yeah, I got a
repair.
job where they didn't know what to do when I quit because nobody quit.
Yes, I
So
remember that.
yeah, so like literally, there's probably a handful of people that quit on their own, um, free will, I guess.
Hmm.
And I was one of them, and they didn't even know what to do.
Yeah.
They didn't even have papers or anything like that, or
Yeah, it's hard to give
so
up a good gig.
yeah,
Like definitely, especially if it's solid and you know what, you don't really have to look anywhere else. But sometimes, other things pop up, and
it,
um, I know you'd mentioned one of your old coworkers when you told them about your idea about making
oh, they thought I was
jeans.
crazy.
They were like, "You're crazy, man. This
Yeah,
is like the ultimate job. You have everything you need.
yeah,
Why would you want to, leave this?" But you had bigger goals, bigger dreams than what was going on, huh?
yeah. I guess it was, we had or yeah, us as employees there, we had health benefits for the whole family. We had a pension going. We had everything all set up. It was impossible to get fired. It was a union job. It was
Mm-hmm.
impossible to get fired. I wouldn't have got fired anyways. Nobody would.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you lose all of the security to be in the unknown
Yep. That's scary.
of
That's a big
not
move.
having a paycheck. So that was a wild one. And my father worked at the Metro. He worked at the Metro pretty much when my family came to the United States in 1975
Mm-hmm.
from Vietnam. He worked some odd jobs in gas stations and dealerships and things like that because he was a mechanic. And then when he landed the job at the Metro where I used to work, he he worked there for 23 years
Wow.
as a bus CNG diesel mechanic, and
That's
then
great.
then transferred over to be a train mechanic where I was for about 10 years there.
Mm-hmm.
So that job actually raised my the roots of my family,
Yeah.
and then also me. So it
And
was
that,
it was extra hard to
uh-huh.
say goodbye to that place because it's
Right.
almost like I was like letting my dad down by like
Yeah.
I at the time I was sad because like that job that I had that my father had provided for like our
Yes.
family. And
Yes.
I to let that go wasn't the easiest thing because
Yeah.
I knew what that job did for my family,
True.
and I'm grateful for it. And then then I started,
Mm-hmm.
it I don't know.
And at a young age, seeing your dad work there, did you decide at a young age, like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna be there too. That's what I want to do. Or was it a
Um,
little bit later? Did you have other things going on?
it was I now that you say that, it probably was, and I didn't even
Mm-hmm.
realize it. Like I used to go to like the pancake breakfasts there at the Metro and like all this stuff as a
Yeah.
kid. I met all my dad's friends,
Mm-hmm.
and then 20 years later, I worked with them. But like it wasn't really like that. I grew up working on I guess not working on cars, but playing with cars with my
Yes.
friends and my dad teaching me. So I knew how to work on cars. Playing with like real cars since I was like 15, 16 years old, and then
Nice.
went to school for electronics, and then after school, I moved up to Oregon for
Mm-hmm.
about 3 years to work at Intel, and I worked in the clean room making the microprocessor chips.
Nice.
So I worked in a department doing that for 3 years, knowing that I'm going to come back home. But when I came back home, I I I was a mechanic by hobby, and I did electronics by trade, and working on trains was like the perfect job for me, and it was like
Yes.
fate. I just ended up working there,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad retired as a bus mechanic, and then he wanted to work on the train, so he went over there, and it's like coincidentally. Like I was his lead man because I was already a
Yes.
lead man in the shop, and my dad got transferred there. I was actually
Wow.
my dad's lead man for 2 years of the time that, or no, I'm sorry, not 2 years, probably like 8 years of the 13 years I was there. So
That's rad. That's
yeah,
pretty rad to
and then we
follow his
worked with each
footsteps like
other.
that.
Yeah, so that was a big part of my life. a huge part of my life. And
Sweet. And how many years were you there until you decided, hey, you know what? I'm starting to feel like I think I want to do the jeans and I might want to quit. I mean, were you there for how many years had you been working there before you decided you were going to head on out?
so this is the wild one right here. So I was there for 13 years.
Wow.
Probably,
Oh,
probably,
woo.
probably 3 years into the 13 years, like making pants as a business was like a hobby. And thinking of it as hobby is like, okay, if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, I'm gonna still work here.
Hmm.
So it was more of like a hobby trying to build this brand and this company was more of a hobby trying to get it going. And so 3 years into it, I was trying to do this, and then so the portion left, the 10 years, I was working at the metro either on a swing shift or on graveyard,
Hmm.
and then the rest of the time I was working on building this brand. So
Wow.
essentially, literally, it was like two jobs at the one time.
Hmm.
So I did that for 10 years. So I
Jeez.
worked at the majority of the time there, I I went to work there at 10 p.m. at night, and then I worked till like 6 in the morning, and then from 6 in the morning I'd drive straight to the warehouse that we had at the time.
Hmm.
So I drove straight there, got the shop started. I had two employees, and then I had two employees, and then I would continue to work and sample stuff and do side
Hmm.
sewing jobs, but like side jobs basically.
Hmm.
In trying to learn how to make clothes, and I
Wow.
built a collection of machines, and so we were trying to make
Yeah.
clothes, and I would probably survive until like about 10 o'clock, and then I'd start getting tired
Yeah.
because I
Oh.
and then and
Coffee? How did you do it?
I
Coffee, huh?
I don't think
Still?
coffee worked back then
Yeah.
for me. But then I'd go in the car and take like a 45-minute nap,
Hmm. Those are
and
great.
and then get back to work again, and then I'd work until about 3:30, 4 o'clock,
Okay.
and then from there I'd go home and try to get into bed by like by 5 o'clock, and
Wow.
then get up at
And
get
then
get up at 8 o'clock. So I get about 3 hours there,
and you
and
still do. I don't know how you do it, man.
yeah, and then I have to get up at 8 o'clock because I need to eat dinner. I need to eat dinner and then spend about an hour with Tawny,
Hmm.
and then leave to work at 9 o'clock again, and
Wow.
then go back to work and at 10 o'clock, and then do it over again. And I
Jeez.
did that kind of double job thing for about 10 years.
Wow.
So I lived off of
So,
like 2 2 hour naps for like 10 years.
so the beginning was way early on when you were still working over there, then,
Yeah,
right? And then I remember the shop in Arcadia. That was the first
yeah.
location.
No, that was the
Uh,
second location.
the
The first
with the
location was El Monte. I had like a little 500 square
oh
foot.
yes, I know
Behind
exactly where.
behind the mobile gas station on Peck
Yes,
Road.
yes, I know exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
there was like a little 500 square foot.
Wow.
It had carpet. It was it was not the ideal thing, but it was the only thing I
Hmm.
could afford. It was 500 square foot for $500 a month.
Oh, you
So
can't beat it. Yeah,
yeah, that
that's probably
was
like 2,500 now.
yeah. So that we can that's all I can afford back then, and
That's great.
so we took that, and then that was and then we went to Arcadia, and that was 1,000
Hmm.
square feet,
Wow,
and that was like
great location there
yeah,
too.
I it was so small, but I still miss it.
Hmm.
But
I remember totally.
yeah, it was my first kind of like industrial commercial,
Yes.
like not a converted office.
Yeah.
It was like a industrial
Hmm.
commercial space that I
Yeah.
kind of felt like, oh, this is a real sewing shop now.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
So where did you start seeing the momentum of the brand when you started thinking like I could do this like full time and I can make it work. Like it's this is the time right now. I mean, what did you see? Like, was it the orders or was it one big order? Where was it that you felt the brand was ready to take off?
I don't even know if I had that feeling yet.
Yeah, I cut it out.
I think our first kind of like woohoo
Hmm.
moment, like oh that worked,
Hmm.
it was way back in El Monte. So we went from El Monte, Arcadia, Monrovia, and back to El Monte.
Yes.
So like when the little office that I was telling you, um, our first woohoo moment was like probably right there. It's when I got like the first sale. We landed one of the best accounts in the U.S. I guess we landed like American Rag. they
Oh
purchased
yes.
Railcar, and then also Glory Sales, which is
Mm-hmm.
another really cool store like on Hollywood and Vermont.
Yes.
So those are our first accounts. So Glory, that store doesn't exist
I
anymore.
know. What
That was a
great
cool store.
store. What a great store.
Like I approached them with 5 samples, and I thought they were gonna kick me out, but it was my first time. It was my first time approaching a store,
Mm-hmm.
my first time selling Railcar, my first time anything, my first approach to
And you
try to
went
sell it.
there?
I went there
Okay.
in my Metro uniform
Yes.
on the way to work
Yes.
with 5 samples in like a luggage, in like a carry-on luggage. And
Sweet.
then
Very pulp function. Pulp function. Function.
yeah,
Pulp fiction.
yeah. So I walked in there, and then I was like, what the hell do I have to lose, whatever. So I just walked in there and I talked to the guy at the counter, and I was like, hey, my name is Steven and I make jeans and I have 5 of them. Would you like to see them? And he told me to pull them out. And then I remember he was like, oh, thank God. I was like, shit, is that a good thing? And then he was like, that's actually pretty good. And then he turned around and grabbed all these catalogs and was like, this is the type of stuff that people bring to me all the time and blah, 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 whatever. And then he
Nice.
was, I'll take those and I'll take all of them. So we got into that store, and I
Yeah.
was, then I got back and I was like, how the hell am I going to deliver all this crap?
Yeah.
Like
I gotta make all these.
yeah, because I was sewing a lot at the time, because
Mhm.
I was sewing and I had a helper sewer, and then I had an assistant with me, and then we went, and then on the drive, because I still had to go to work that day. On the way to work, I was like, I felt like I was
You hit the
like,
jackpot, huh?
yeah, I was like yelling and screaming.
Oh, that's
I remember I was
great.
driving
What
down
an awesome
Sunset.
feeling.
Yeah, I was driving down Sunset, and I was like yelling, screaming, like hitting myself on the chest,
Yeah.
and like I can't
Don't want to
believe
fight somebody right now.
yeah, like I can't believe I did that, So
Mhm.
we sold that, and then that one got the wheels turning, and then I was like, let me just hit up like the best store
Yep.
one of the best stores
Why
in the country
not?
at the time. So I approached the American Rag, and they liked it, and I had a meeting with the buyer there, and then they purchased it, and
Now during this time, were you already doing Vegas? Like, were you doing the magic show
no, we
already?
couldn't afford that. I got a
Yeah, I was
story
gonna
for that
say,
one.
yeah, because I know later
Yeah,
on you guys now did that start in when you got to Monrovia?
yeah,
It
that one
that was a little bit after.
that was after. So we we had to figure out how to put these orders together.
Mhm.
So that was at the beginning. That was at their turn time. I didn't know anything about trade shows or anything like that back then. I was completely green. I never even worked at a clothing store before, nor anything else,
That's
or a
cool.
brand or anything like that.
Mhm.
So the whole trade show portion of it was the whole trade show portion was all brand new. And then at the beginning, what you were saying is we couldn't afford that. So
Yeah,
like these trade shows
expensive.
back then, trade shows were like,
Yeah, you're paying like 5,000 for like 10 by 10,
yeah,
and it's way more now, but
it's way more
back
now, but back
then
then it was a lot of money.
it was.
And like, and they were a lot strict because they wouldn't let you, like, I mean, they're strict now, you're not supposed to, but you can't lurk around in there.
Mhm.
You had to be like invited, have a pass, and have all
Mhm.
these credentials, and you had to be somebody to even like look at it. And I
Mhm.
I didn't have $5,000 to
Mhm.
like pretend I'm going to do this trade show to look around.
And then hopefully get a sale or maybe
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. So like, and I didn't know even know what happened in there. And back then, when a brand was was it, like
Mhm.
when there was a good brand, there was lines down the booths, like people trying to like make
I
orders,
recall that.
and like making orders, and these brands would like leave the show with like a couple $100,000 in
Big
written
money.
orders and big money,
Mhm.
and we weren't there, we weren't those people. So I remember, so there was a trade show, it was which one was it back then? It was a big trade show back then.
Mhm.
It was in the Mandalay Bay, right?
Mhm.
So I forgot which one it is. There's so many now. But it was in
Mhm.
Mandalay Bay. Project. It was
Okay.
Project
I'm thinking Liberty or one of
yeah,
those.
yeah. So
Yep.
it's Project in Mandalay Bay, and there's that big corridor hallway where the Starbucks is at, and then
Mhm.
there's a ledge right there. Me and Tawny, went to that trade show, and um, uh, me and Tawny went to that trade show, and I remember I had a plan. I had a plan.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this, right? I had a
Yeah.
plan. So I put three jeans in a messenger bag. I guess messenger bags were like popular
Yeah.
back then. I put three jeans in a messenger bag and like business cards in my pocket. And then the show started. And this is when trade shows were really, really busy. They're not like that
Hmm.
now, but they were really, really busy. And I put business cards in my pocket and some jeans in the messenger bag. And that corridor right there, right where it bends, where the Starbucks is at. You
Yes.
know where that's at,
Oh,
right?
I know exactly.
There's
Yeah.
like a
The
little
few shows
ledge
we did there.
ledge right there.
Uh-huh.
And then Murtani was sitting right there. And then the trade show starts. I can't remember what, 8 o'clock in the morning or
Yep.
something like that. I was like, Tani, we're gonna go down there at like 7:30, and we're gonna sit there and then watch all the people go walk by, and I'm gonna tap people's on the shoulders and kind of show them my stuff. Like I was,
Perfect. You
and
have to do it, man. It's
that's all
that's
I can afford
yeah.
a
Sometimes you
trade
just
show.
gotta just
So like we walked there, and I was tapping on people's shoulders that kind of looked like they would be like buyers or whoever in the who knows. I was probably tapping on other brands, whatever. I didn't even know what I was
Mhm.
doing, but like, and then I was tapping on shoulders and trying to, hey, can you got a second before you go in? You want to check out the clothes that I make? I think you'll like them. Here's my
Mhm.
business card. And I was literally talking to people as they were walking, and
How did that work out? Any sales or anything from
not
that
not
one?
not one.
Yep. Oh, I know that feeling.
Not one.
Yep.
Not one sale, not one inquiry, not
Yep.
it didn't work.
I know.
But the
The hustle was there
the
though.
effort was there.
Yes.
The effort was there, and it was a big learning curve because
Mhm.
like I learned that it could have worked. It didn't work, but it kind of got the bugs out.
Mhm.
It was I can imagine that whole morning like as if it does. It's one of the it's one
Yep.
of the things that didn't work, but I'm really proud of.
Yes. Sometimes you just gotta get punched in the nuts, and then you're like, you know what?
Uh-huh.
I need to get back up because I
Yeah.
have giant nuts, and I'm gonna make it
Yeah,
happen.
now they're all
And that's what
swollen.
you guys
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they're like, I don't have
Yeah.
3 anymore myself,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's
Yeah. It
great.
didn't work.
It didn't
Yeah.
work,
I don't recommend it.
but yeah.
So if
You
you're
know
trying to
what?
start a clothing company, don't do that.
Yeah, don't tap on people's shoulders and
Yeah.
say,
They're not
"Look
gonna
at
pay
my
attention to
jeans."
you. Yeah, look at my stuff. And it didn't work. We started off with like denim bottoms,
Mhm.
but I never called it railcar denim
Yeah.
or railcar jeans.
And how'd you come about, naming it Railcar? What was the purpose behind that?
Railcar. Oh, yeah. So 10 years when I started so I guess rewind a little bit. When I started the company, I'll call it a company. I wanted to learn how to manufacture first before
Mhm.
I made clothes. So like it's the opposite. I think a lot of people wanted to start a brand, and then once they do a brand, then they got to figure out how they're going to make it. Either
Mhm.
it's all fine. Either they use subcontractors, or they use their friends, or they figure out how to do it themselves somehow. T-shirt brands
Mhm.
or clothing brands, cut and sew brands, or accessory brands, whatever it is. But my idea at the beginning, before like we even kind of made a brand, is I wanted to make sure that I own the manufacturing first, so I'm vertical. So I wanted to know how to make jeans, men's and women's. I wanted to know how to make a jacket. I wanted to know how to make a shirt.
Sweet.
And then after that, then I was like, okay, let's make a brand. So I did everything all
Wow.
ass backwards.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it should be done,
Yeah.
really.
So I did. I figured that out, and then once I had all of this time and money and all this vested into like, okay, I can make this stuff now, or I could somewhat make it. At
Mhm.
that time, like from now until from now and compared to back then, I would call it to like I could somewhat make it. Now I can make it. I'm not too worried about
Mhm.
anything anymore. But like back then, I could somewhat make it. So
Mhm.
if I could make it, okay, now let's establish a brand.
Mhm.
And then when I was starting to establish the brand, and to answer your question, was like, okay, what should I name the brand? So literally the story is like, okay, I'm doing my maintenance at the shop at the Metro, and I was thinking like, I want something kind of industrial,
Mhm.
because I'm kind of an industrial kind of person. I like tools. I like cars. I like motorcycles. Anything with
Mhm.
wheels I like, and I like making stuff. I like tools.
Yeah.
I just like stuff like that. And I was sitting at the shop, and I was like, what's around me? So I started looking at my toolbox and looking at like different things around the shop, literally, and I was like, surrounded by trains. I was like, oh, train jeans, train denim, or like, and then all it's then I was thinking that sounds kind of corny. So I was like,
Mhm.
how about like rail car. So it
Boom.
was like, and that was
Bing.
it.
The
It was
light
it
turned
was like
on.
rail car. It was like rail car, and I was like, all right,
Hmm.
it's gonna be kind of hard. And then to the fine goods portion of it was gonna be like it's gonna be kind of hard. And I already thought about this back then. I was like, it's gonna be hard for me to get the URL and then all the
Hmm.
stuff associated to have like it's like naming a band, right?
Yes.
It's like every band name is
Yes.
like
We
trying to
had
name
some.
we're
We
trying to
had
name a
some
band right now.
crazy ones.
So like I was trying to put together like kind of like a combination of
Hmm.
words, and I was like, okay, railcar denim, that's probably pretty easy. But I knew in the long run that I just didn't only want to create work on denim, and I was like, okay, this, and then just like
The fine
goods,
goods.
fine goods, like, and then I thought of goods just like railcar goods. I was like, ah, that's cool, but a little bit short from my taste. I kind of
Hmm.
at the time for some reason I wanted like a 3-letter acronym to
Hmm.
RFG or something like that.
Yeah.
So then I was thinking like, real in fine goods, I was like, okay, that sounds kind of vintage.
It does.
It sounds kind
Great
of
name.
like Americana. Sounds
Hmm.
like what like a brand would call themselves like in the 20s or something, like in a
Yeah.
mercantile
Hmm.
store. So that's where the rail car came from with the sub and
Sweet.
the sub words in it. And so that's where the rail car came from. It was literally me just sitting at work and
That's cool.
looking
Yeah.
around and
Definitely like naming a band. We went through some pretty rough ones too. I'm glad we ended up with Gambler's Mark. It worked out.
yeah, yeah,
And
uh,
Flashbacks was easy. That
yeah,
that
yeah,
kind of fell out of the sky.
right,
That
right.
was cool. So tell us a little bit about when you were in Arcadia, man. How were things running there? For the while that you guys were
Arcadia,
hanging out on that side of town.
Arcadia was good, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
That location kind of fell on our laps, um, and at that time that was probably like 8 or 9 years, probably 10 years ago actually. That was probably
Wow,
10.
already?
Yeah,
Jeez.
because so and 10 years ago, there in our area, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know who's gonna listen to this, in what area they are, but like in our area 10 years ago, you couldn't find a vacant place to lease anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and a small space was even more difficult. So there was like no space, and for the budget too. And then we were randomly driving. I was like, this looks like a nice neighborhood. Let me just kind of
Mm-hmm.
drive around. It wasn't the idealist place. It was like a industrial garage unit in the
Mm-hmm.
back, like the second one from the back. So we didn't
Yeah.
have like a street spot or anything like that. It was like way in the back.
Mm-hmm.
We only had 2 parking spots. So if anybody came, they'd have to park in the front and
Yep.
like walk all the
I
way to the back
remember.
because the neighbors would get pissed off if you park in their spot because everybody's only allowed to.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that wasn't the ideal, but it was perfect though. How,
Yeah.
how, how, how shitty that I just made it sound? It was perfect.
Yeah. That's
Um,
great.
um,
But then you're like, I need a bigger place.
yeah,
We need to look for somewhere else. And then that's when you guys rolled into Monrovia after
yeah,
that one,
and that
right?
was by accident too.
Really?
So we
That
were,
place was big too, man.
yeah, that was only half. Well, we only had the back half when we
Mm-hmm.
started, and then we got the front half. So the reason that way we got that is we were in Arcadia, happier than pigs and shit, and we were working away, and then we used to eat lunch in Monrovia, and then we happened to pass by that, and then I
Mm-hmm.
was like, let me inquire on that. Our lease is about to run out. We had like 2 months left. Let's see what this is, and we really couldn't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
We really stretched it out. Like it's weird. Like it doubled like our rent, right, to go
Wow.
there, which which is a lot of money at the time. And then we're like, oh man, should we do it? Like
I'm in the background. Do it.
it
Just
was
do it.
it's in a better location. I already envisioned the little side store. It was in the back. It was a back unit, but it was a little side store, and I thought like, hey, we could turn this little door into a little store. I think it would have been like a little. It's not even 20 by 20. It would have been like
Mm-hmm.
15 by 15. That
Yes.
side door, right? Then we turned into a cutting room, but
Mm-hmm.
like it was like a little 15-foot by 15-foot room that had a little side entrance that we turned to a speakeasy. I got a little
Mm-hmm.
cordless
Yeah.
doorbell when people could knock, like
I
ring a
remember
doorbell and
that.
come in, and we're
Mm-hmm.
open to the public now. All
Mm-hmm.
of a sudden we had a retail
Yep.
store. We were barely a brand, but we had a retail store, and then people started kind of finding us
Mm-hmm.
because we were trying to go like, come visit us, and try to make us more um more available to the public,
Mm-hmm.
instead of being in an online store that has no physical phone number, no no physical location, no
Mm-hmm.
physical phone number. It's we were trying to like do ourselves to get ourselves out there by
Yeah.
building a position for us.
Mm-hmm. And then the front side came along, and
Yeah, it used to be a
you.
jujitsu spot.
Oh,
So
no way.
yeah, it used to be a jujitsu studio. It was one building. The landlord cut it in half. We had the back half. The
Mm-hmm.
front half was a jujitsu studio, and this back half. So it was kind of funny. Every time we were working at customers, and we could hear them grunting all the time and like exercising and doing
Yeah.
their thing, which is cool. But like we
Yeah.
can hear that, and we're like, oh, that's
You're
just the
like, oh,
jujitsu. It
they're in the
was a thin
restroom.
wall. It
This will
was a
be
real
the
thin wall.
restroom.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was a super thin wall. But then they moved out, and then we're gonna kind of double our expenses again by taking that spot, and we were running out of space anyways, and that was kind of a scary moment too because we were thinking like, okay, either A, we can just like double our square footage,
Mm-hmm.
or B, we're going to run out of space here in like 6 months right now. And then we're going to have to physically move and cost us more money to move and all that stuff, or we can just
Mm-hmm.
unlock that connecting door right now that separated us and just go on from there.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. We were there for 6 years, that whole building there for 6 years. It was a nice building, and
Nice.
we
Yeah.
still miss it. And
Yeah, that was a great location. I really
yeah,
liked that
yeah.
location. So you're there 6 years, and then you discovered this place right here. Or did this
Yeah,
kind
no,
of out of nowhere too? Was it
that
one of
was
those?
so our next move was 2020, smack dab in the middle of
Yeah.
like
Oh
Corona.
yes.
I
Uh,
said it. I said the word. I said it.
the Roans.
Yeah. So in 2020 we outgrown that space. Our lease was done, and then we were like, okay, what do we do now? So we're just we ran out of space, so we had to find another space. And then
Hmm.
we're thinking like, oh, let's look around, and this place came up,
Hmm.
and this place came up, and we were like, oh, that's it's kind of a good layout. So
Yeah.
we just decided to like move from there, and then
Hmm.
move from there, and then start up here. And this place was vacant for like 7 years. From what I heard, it was vacant for like seven
Wow.
years. So
It
there
was the
was,
old furniture store back in the day, right? I
yeah, I
think,
heard that from multiple
right?
people. I had no
I
idea.
think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was an old
Hmm.
furniture store. So it was it works out. It just
Yeah.
it works out. The layout works out perfect for us. It
Hmm.
couldn't be any better, the layout. And then
Yeah.
we have room for a bigger retail store that that's a real retail store.
Hmm.
Hold on a second.
And it's time for the burlesque show. Just kidding, guys. I wouldn't torture you with my stomach,
Smart lights.
or maybe I would. All right, so now you're in Almani.
Yeah.
Things are looking pretty awesome in here.
I think of like the whole brand as like an art piece, and then
Mhm.
every element in there with like the clothes and the jackets and the fabrics and all this other stuff that goes around it. It doesn't make any sense, but it makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like the camp cups, for example,
Mm-hmm.
because I like camping.
Yeah.
I like
I love this tea too.
yeah this tea. um and like like the chore coats and the canvas
Mm-hmm.
products, it reminds me of like adventure goods. So so like Railcar is more of like like a workwear adventure brand, and it's and the automotive thing is just like kind of like naturally into it because
Mm-hmm.
I like automotive. I don't really promote that's like an automotive like themed brand, but
Mm-hmm.
kind of is at the same
But it's
time.
perfect for people that are into it for sure.
Ye-
It's definitely.
yeah, and then with the barbershop and the pomade, I
Mhm.
feel like it kind of goes with it too, and in everything from the talk with my hands a lot, everything with the visuals of everything,
Mhm.
and like the topics of everything, or like the categories of everything.
Yes.
It kind of makes sense to me, and hopefully it makes sense to other people, so it's more of like an organic kind of branding.
Mm-hmm.
I think that most like denim brands or brands in general, they have like kind of like one. I don't want to speak for other brands, but I feel like they do jeans, and they do jeans well,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what they do. But I feel like Railcar is
A little
that's
more.
where the fine
It's a
goods
little
kind
more.
of came from.
Yes.
It's like
That's
Like
why it's a great name. I mean, it's
it's like
because it's all
shit.
the way around, but
Like
it
next
all
week.
makes sense.
Yeah, like next
Yeah.
week I'll decide. Fuck, we'll make some chapstick, whatever, and
Yeah.
come out
You
some
know what?
chapstick. Yeah, you know, I
I
don't
do
know.
want some rail car boxers or
I
chonies.
I was working on that
So
actually.
if you need a
I
model,
bought the machine to make boxers.
I've been working on the six fat, so let
Yeah.
me know. But the pomade too. You got the stronghold and the supreme and the
Yeah.
regular.
Yeah.
They work great.
Yeah.
I've actually been lucky to do some artwork for Stevie here for one of the pomades. Darn, you know what? I wish I had one of those pomades so I could just show it right now.
Yeah.
You know what?
Does he? Do you? It's,
Oh, what a coincidence. I just happen to have one right here. So if you guys want to pick this up, railcarfinegoods.com. Quick commercial. So yeah, let's get back to the interview here.
thank you for our sponsors.
Yeah.
Sponsoring ourselves.
So, the products for the jeans,
Mhm.
when those came out, I had actually never seen anything like that for
Uh-huh.
specifically for jeans, like the spray and the
Oh yeah,
detergent.
yeah, those ones too.
Um,
Yeah.
Well, you were thinking like all the denim heads, they don't wash their jeans. Yeah, I mean obviously
Yeah.
that they don't know washers, so you decided, hey, I need some detergent. I need something
Yeah.
to take knock some of this.
So that came upon as like, yeah. So I thought like, like the denim. It sounds corny again, but like the denim scene, 5, 10 years ago, even further than that, say 10 years ago and on, I would
Mhm.
say, like the no washing thing was like super popular within like
Yes,
this
the
kind of
vintage stuff
small,
too.
the small
Yeah.
niche community. The water's gonna break down the fabric and blah blah blah,
Hmm.
and it's gonna break down the dyes and all that stuff, whatever. So that was real big, 10 plus 10 plus years ago, and maybe till today, whatever. So we were
Hmm.
thinking like and it's so popular right now. So we're thinking like, okay, so like, how do people like wear their pants because they can get kind of crusty and smelling kind of crusty real
Yeah.
fast, and people would Febreze it and like things like
Hmm.
that. So the idea with the Railcar denim refresher, I was thinking like, okay, how do you keep your jeans from deodorizing your jeans, you
To
know
keep them nice.
and
Too.
keep them for those particular group for that particular group of people, and your jeans not smell like floral,
Hmm.
because like any product that you would get at the grocery store and you spray in your pants, it's all floral, and you're gonna smell like like your couch or something like that.
Hmm.
So like the Railcar denim refresher was designed to smell like new denim, because new
Yeah.
denim smells like it has this particular scent.
Yes.
It smells like kind of like hay, kind of
Hmm.
smells kind of like dye, like denim,
Hmm.
not sulfur denim, but like regular denim, but kind of has like a certain kind of smell. So we try to emulate that new denim smell, and we put it in a bottle with the deodorizing
Sweet.
technology in it.
Hmm.
So that's what it is. So when you spray your jeans, you can go spray your pants with Febreze, that's fine, but you're gonna smell like flowers.
Yeah.
But like if the rail car stuff, it's a smell. It emulates like new denim
Yes.
and deodorizes at the same time.
Hmm.
So that's where that came from. And then the detergent portion of it was like, well, when that's prolonging the periods between washes. But when you have to wash them, or when you want to wash them, I wash my jeans um, uh, often, not too often, but
Hmm.
not like never. But like I got my kids like jumping on me. I don't want like
Yeah.
them jumping on like
Yeah.
dirty, crusty
Right. The
pants.
crusty
And
pants.
you go to a bar or a show, people spear,
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
You don't like when you need to wash your pants. Then that's where
Hmm.
the detergent came from. So
Yeah.
then we developed a detergent with kind of like the same kind of concept of like new denim.
That's great. Yeah, that stuff was great. When I was the same when I got my first rail cars, I was like, I'm not gonna wash these. And then I went a good while and I was like, these smell like butt.
Yeah,
I need something for them. And then you came up with that stuff. It's like perfect. The detergent,
yeah,
the spray, and I
yeah,
was good to go. I mean, I even used it on some of my other stuff that I don't like to wash, my denim stuff. And
yeah,
yeah, it works great, man.
yeah.
Works really good. So you make jeans, jackets. You got an awesome location here in Monte. But aside from that, I know you're a rock and roller too. So I want to tap into that just a little bit. I know you're in the middle of recording an album right now with John Avila from Oingo Boingo,
yeah.
right?
We just
Awesome.
finished.
Tell us a little bit about that and the name of the band too.
We just finished the second song, recording the second song, and they're coming out great.
Hmm.
They're done. They're done recording. The performances are all done. It's just in the mixing process right now. So we're in we're in search for a mixer. So
Nice.
we're finding so it just needs to be mixed and mastered. So we're in process there now. We played out a couple times.
Hmm.
Um, we have great musicians in the band.
Yeah.
Like
Longtime friends or?
uh, lo- my friend that brought me in is a longtime friend.
Mhm.
My friend Phil. So we were he needed a guitarist, and then so we were asking around. I was like, oh, shit, I'll play with you. So
Yeah.
so so I haven't before that I haven't played for
Yeah.
probably
It's
when
been
I
a
played with
minute.
you.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
been a minute, man.
yeah, I think we played at that strip
Yeah.
club or something like that.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that was literally the last
Right.
time I played,
Yeah.
and then I started playing again like a few
Yeah.
months ago, I guess.
Wow.
So that was years.
Well, that's good. You
That's
were able to plug that Marshall in. I know you had it
yeah,
sitting there. It's
right,
ready.
right. So that was literally probably that show that I played with you,
Yeah.
and then 6 months ago. So it was like
Wow.
probably a 10-year gap.
Jeez.
It was
It's not that long.
yeah, it was probably like a 10-year gap. But then yeah, I had to kind of figure it out again. But yeah, we were playing, and then so I was friends with him, and then the singer Lauren's great girl. I met her there, and then the drummer is Phil's brother, and then the bass player is his name is Sin. He was formerly the guitarist for Ministry.
Oh yeah, that's
So
right.
yeah, he's
Yes. Great
he's
band
amazing.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
amazing. He's coming out with another project right now, so
Wow.
you can
Any
check that out.
gigs? Anything you guys got coming up right now? Or are you just kind of focusing on that recording, kind of just
Yeah,
knock it out first and then have some fun with it?
yeah, we have a set already in working on new songs, and they're gonna use that recording to kind of get more.
Hmm.
We had a demo that was recorded on a cell phone, I think.
Perfect.
So
They
that
sound great
so
on the
that so
phone. I'm not gonna lie.
so that's what they've been passing around to try to get shows, and then with the new recordings that we have, I think it'll be
Sweet.
yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of the hobbies, what are you working on right now? I know you're a motorcycle guy and a car guy. So tell us, what cars do you have right now? And then I know you got a killer motorcycle you've been working on for a while too. So tell us a little bit about that.
Let's see the vehicles I have. I have my first kind of not my first, but my oldest project I've had for over how old am I? 25 years. I have a
Wow.
65. I have a 65 Mini Cooper. I have a
Hmm.
65 Jeep Willys wagon. I have like a 74 Mercedes.
The
Um,
Mercedes is so cool. I love that thing, man.
yeah, two Minis. Yeah, I have a 64 Impala station wagon and a
Hmm.
62 Cadillac Coupe de Ville, and then I got a bunch of like camping toys.
Yeah.
But
How about that motorcycle? I'm
yeah,
gonna borrow it one day. I don't know how to ride and I can't reach,
yeah, you can't touch the
but I
floor.
still want to borrow it.
Yeah. So I'm building that land speed bike right now.
Hmm.
It's a CB 550 that's hardtailed. Um, it's completely custom, and that's just going to be like a race bike only. I'm on the
Yeah.
tail end of it. I keep it's I keep putting it on my social media that I'm gonna finish it, but crap just keeps coming on, and I'm gonna finish it this year, or somebody's gonna call me
Yeah.
out on it.
Yeah.
Somebody called me out on
Oh,
it. And
really?
I told them,
In December, I'm gonna call you out and be like,
yeah,
Stevie,
yeah. We'll do
where's the
the next the
bike?
next podcast. It'll be done.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that on the
Yeah.
next pod. But
We'll have you write in on it and be like, it's done.
yeah. So that project is gonna be a race bike only, and I want to do the first run in El Mirage this year for 23. So
Nice.
there, it's just going to be a land speed bike, and
Hmm.
it should do well. And I think
Yeah.
I'm like 90% done with it. It's just the
Yeah,
last
that thing
the
is
last.
so cool. I love
I
that
think
thing.
I'm gonna fuck up the quote whatever, but the last 10% is like
Yeah.
90% of the work or something like that.
Oh, that's the
Paraphrase
worst.
whatever, but it's just that last
Uh-huh.
10% that's
Hmm.
taking me a long time, but everything else is pretty much done.
Sweet. And then how's it looking for Viva Las Vegas for you guys? Are you planning on doing that again? I know you guys have done it the last few years, and it looks like you've done pretty well over there. I've had the privilege of joining you guys for a couple
Yeah.
of those, and it's always a
Yeah. Yeah,
blast.
we'll do it again this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's on our yearly
Hmm.
calendar.
Anything else besides Viva too? I know.
We just signed up for Moon Eyes.
Well,
So
great
we'll do.
show.
It's a little different this year, but we just did
Really?
that. Yeah.
Is it going to be at the Irwindale Speedway again, or a different location, or are you talking about where the main location's at the
No,
Moon Eyes
no,
store?
no, no. It's the you know
Irwindale?
the
Speed-
Irwindale, but
Okay.
it's in January this year.
Oh
It's
wow.
actually in 3 weeks.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well,
Jeez, I didn't even know that.
yeah. So it's
Mhm.
gonna be the end of January. Because they usually have it for Christmas.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't do the Christmas one this year.
No,
Oh
they
wow.
moved it back.
Hmm.
So it's like I guess they call it a New Year's party.
All right, so Steve, tell us a little bit about how COVID affected you guys. I mean, I know everybody was affected in some way or another. How did you guys manage to get through the madness that was going on during that time? Um, I mean, especially with so many businesses, closing and not making it. I mean, how did you guys do it, man? What what
Uh,
what, what kept you alive, man?
Alive and sane, I think. That was a I mean, before we have this conversation, I think remember what everybody's feeling like. See now, after everything, everybody's a little tough, like f this and f that, whatever,
Hmm.
and everybody's like, oh, but at the time, people were scared shitless,
Yeah.
you know. So I remember, I remember, and I got three young kids at the time, um, and then I was like, when that happened, like me and Tawny were in our little office
Hmm.
with 4 desks in Monrovia, and we were thinking like, okay, like what are we gonna do? Like we're the first things that people are gonna cut out of their lives.
Hmm.
We just sell kind of like luxury goods. We don't sell toothpaste that everybody needs.
Yeah.
We
Or
sell,
toilet paper out.
yeah, yeah, and toilet paper. Yeah, toilet paper, but like I remember, like I just had to try to be strong for myself, and then uh for for my employees and for my family. And I remember, like, it was okay. Let's figure out the not the pros and the cons, but like our advantages and our disadvantages. What are we gonna
Hmm.
do? And I was I remember in the office, I was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, Tony. We're gonna we're gonna do this, and do this. And I remember, like, I was, you know, standing up and like giving Tawny a hug at work. And me and Tawny, we were never kind of affectionate at work.
Hmm.
When people do, people go like, ooh, like they don't. We don't even
Yeah.
look like we're like a couple. Anyways,
Uh,
like we're in the office doing that, and then trying to console each other, trying to figure out what we're gonna do. And then my buddy Michael comes in, and then he goes, "What's going on?" And then we're like trying to figure out what we're gonna kind of do.
yeah. I remember that time too, man. I was kind of working with you a little bit during that time too.
Yeah,
And then I was like, oh man.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then when Mike came in, and I was like, oh, like I got to come up with a plan. And then me and him, we went out. I asked Tani, we're gonna let's get some lunch, and she wasn't in the mood, obviously, or not obviously, but she wasn't in the mood to go out. We were kind of scared. And then me and Mike went to Taco Lita.
Yes.
We went to Taco
Oh, I
Lita.
love Tacolita so much.
Yeah. And then we were eating tacos in the back of my truck, and we're thinking like, what are you gonna do? Like what are you gonna do? And I was like, I have no idea. Like literally, I was telling Tony all kinds. I was spitting all kinds of game, but in real reality, I was like, I do not know what to do.
Yeah.
So then when it happened, and then when it happened, we came back to work, and then I think that was a Wednesday, and then Friday came along, and then we were like, oh, like what are we gonna do? Like, okay, we're gonna have to start laying people off. Like this is not gonna be
Mhm.
good. I mean, we have enough at the time. What did they say? They said it's gonna be 3 weeks, and then it's gonna be 3 months, whatever. It's like, okay, if we lay half of our staff off and just kind of keep them, and then we're thinking like, is it legal for us? Remember at the time we didn't know what was kosher,
Yes.
what we can and cannot do legally. And I'm a rule follower,
Hmm.
so I was trying to figuring out like, well, can we do legal? It's like, can we even be open making jeans? Like, I'm not selling toilet paper,
Hmm.
and I'm not selling essentials or anything like that. And
Yeah.
this is when people were were trying to sell like vegetables, at their at their
Mm-hmm.
restaurants. Remember, people were they're
Yeah.
selling like raw
Yeah,
raw
I remember
ingredients at
that.
their
I was like,
restaurants. Like
wow,
restaurants were turning into grocery stores.
serious
That was
stuff.
wild.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a whole nother conversation. This is a whole podcast by itself right here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then Friday came along, and then on the way home, I'm like, what the hell are we gonna do? So I was like, let's. And this was April. This was early COVID.
Mm-hmm.
April.
Yeah, March was the closure. So
Yeah. So this was April, and I was like, let me. I was like, I gotta sell something, and try to be like legally open, being an
mhm.
essential workforce. So I was like, the only thing that I can make, I mean, I own a sewing factory, and I was like, let me make some masks. So then I came home, and then Tawny literally sitting in the dark when I came home from work. She left early that day, like sitting in the dark, and then I was like, all right, let me. I was like, hey Tawny, I'm gonna go to work tomorrow with one of the sewers and try to design something, and then so then she was like, design a mask, and then I was like, okay, well they said they need people making them, so I was like, oh,
Mhm.
let me just make one. So this sounds kind of like ancient news right now, whatever,
Yeah.
but like it came to work, and then me and one of the sewers, I sketched something out on a napkin, how I'm gonna make it in like mass quantity. I can
Mhm.
make a kick-ass mask, but like I got to figure out how to make hundreds, if not thousands of them if it
Yeah.
worked, whatever. So then I sketched out something. It looks like the flux capacitor that Marty McFly drew, or not Marty McFly, Doc drew on
Yeah.
when he hit his head, whatever. It was literally a drawing. I have it as a souvenir.
That's rad,
So
dude.
like
You should put that up on a frame
I
somewhere,
yeah.
man.
So we, so I, so so I drew. Okay, this is how we're gonna make it. So we made it on Saturday. People started buying it, and they
Mm-hmm.
they they purchased enough of it that we didn't have to lay anybody off, and
Yeah.
everybody worked, whatever. And then my friend Mike came back like next week. He was like, oh, what happened? And then I was like, oh, we made mask over the weekend. I was like, man, I was shitting it. He was all, man, you were only shitting it for like 3 days. So
That's awesome.
so
You know, I re-
we got we I mean we went from like, we make luxury jeans, like, and
yeah.
we're the first things to kind of go when people
Hmm.
lose their jobs. And then we did that, and
It was
that,
great.
that, that, then it came back,
I
and
remember when the first one you started making, I was like, wow, these are so rad.
yeah,
Like, you seriously got everybody hooked on those masks. 'Cause you guys were banging out like new ones every week. And
yeah,
there's a few that I didn't get that I'm kind of, damn, I should have got them.
yeah,
But yeah, that was
yeah,
genius idea, bro. When
yeah. It
when you came
was,
up with those, especially when you're doing all the colors matching the jackets and the jeans and
yeah.
the
Try to turn,
flannels, I was like, "Oh, I gotta have this one. I'm like, oh, I need to have this one too. And I'm sure a lot of people were the
yeah,
same. So I'm so glad that you guys ended up going that route.
yeah. It was trying to it was trying to be functional and
Hmm.
creative, and yet kind of like, I don't know if I can read the future or whatever it is, but like, or no, no, I don't want to say that because I don't want to give myself credit. Everybody didn't know how long this is going to kind of prolong. So
Yeah.
like we were trying to kind of, you have to remember at the time, in April,
Hmm.
June, April, April, June, July, like all those months, all those middle months of 2020, like people didn't know if this was going to be like the new future,
I know
like
everybody was shitting
that's
it.
it. So like I was just planning, like, people are going to have to adapt to this crap
Hmm.
for maybe for the rest of their lives, like,
Yep.
like
Yeah.
that's
Nobody knew. Everybody was in
yeah,
limbo.
yeah,
Definitely during that time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was, now everybody can talk now, like everybody,
Hmm.
everybody's all tough and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But at the time, I guarantee everybody was
Yes.
was pretty alarmed
Yeah.
of how long, or anything like that. So anyway, to answer your question, that was kind of like one of the worst scare of, was that even the question?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
What
yeah. For during the
what
time,
yeah,
the rough
like
time of COVID.
that was a rough time, and it was a rough time for all of society.
Yes,
It was for all
yes.
businesses, all society. I remember once I figured out that, Railcar was like, okay, we're okay. We kind of figured out a kind of
Mm-hmm.
solution to kind of help us get through this period of time. I told Tanya, like, I saw like all of, like, not all of them, but like I saw a lot of like our retailers, and like stores
Mm-hmm.
going out of businesses, going out of business and
Yes.
everything. And I told Tani, I was like, and when it was like when it kind of chokes me up right now, but when shit was hitting the fan, I was like, and then I didn't even know like how well we were doing or how bad we were doing. I was like, let's go on these websites, let's go on like our websites and just start purchasing stuff. So like
Mm-hmm.
I went on to like websites of like the stores that we sell to, our railcar retailers, and started purchasing stuff that's not even my brand. Just purchasing like rain jackets and like
Mm-hmm.
what can buy something from this guy, and I knew that my $400 purchase or whatever I did for them wasn't, and this is 2020, like middle of 2020, wasn't gonna like save their business. But the only thing that I was like trying for was like to give them like motivation. So
Yes.
like just let, like when crap hit the fan, just like purchase stuff from like
Mm-hmm.
our partners
That's
basically,
great.
and try to give them like at least like some hope.
Yeah, I think
That was the
a
idea
lot
of
of
it.
local artists too, like all of us, we were trying to do the same,
Yeah,
buying, you know,
try to purchase from each
paintings or
other.
shirts or
Yeah.
yeah,
That
that
was
really
like the
helped
beauty
out.
part of like that whole thing. I kind of
Hmm.
get the chills right now talking about it.
Yeah,
But
I
like
do recall that.
a lot of people were like, and like and vice versa too. People were buying stuff from us,
Yeah.
like, and it's just like, you don't, some of these people are like kind of well off, but like you don't need this stuff right now.
Hmm.
You don't, but there's a lot of people that purchase from us,
That's
and
great.
purchased from us, and there was like no way to kind of, there is a way, now that I think about it, there is a way, but there was no particular good timing to like mention, like, maybe I'll do it now.
Yeah.
Just everybody that like purchased like from us during that time, you didn't need our product, but like you did it because you're
Yep.
supporting our brand. Like, thank
Yeah.
you. Like there was a
Definitely.
lot of that going on,
Yeah.
and the return that we had, the support that
Hmm.
we had a lot of that, and we have all of like these note, when you make an order on the website, you can make notes, and we had all of these like good luck and like
That's great.
purchases that they didn't need to buy, but they still wrote like a nice note,
Stay alive.
yeah,
That's
like all of
great.
that stuff, and that's never forgotten.
Hmm.
There's a lot of good people out there.
Yes, I know a lot of
Yeah,
friends and
yeah,
my clients. I was tattooing underground too, and they
yeah,
were still coming through. And
yeah.
yeah, a big shout out to them. Thank you very much,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, yeah. Now that we talk about it, we never
Hmm.
talked about it. We talked to it all the time, but now that we talk
Yeah,
about it, now there was never a good time
yeah.
to mention that thank you
Hmm.
through COVID.
Exactly.
That
Because
should be
then there was the judges too, like, why are you doing this during this time? And I was like, well,
yeah,
I need to pay the bills. I need to
yeah.
buy some real car fine good jeans too. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people. There's a lot of good people, and there's no way to like thank them individually,
Yes.
But hopefully,
Hmm.
it was definitely like,
Hmm.
man. Now we're on the subject. I can go forever, but
Yeah.
like like there was a lot of like touching stuff that happened, and like
Hmm.
me and my crew were like, wow, a lot of wows,
Yes.
a
We're
lot of
gonna have to
wows.
have a show here with the flashbacks and get all those people that help support us to come out here and hang out
Yeah,
and have a good time and do a free show for them. That
yeah.
might work out.
Yeah, everybody was supporting.
Hmm.
It was pretty good. It was pretty amazing.
So there you have it, folks. The man behind the brand, Mr. Steven Dang from Railcar Fine Goods. Thank you so much for doing the podcast with me today, bro.
Thanks for
It was an
having me.
honor having you here. Your story was very inspiring. And for anybody that wants to check them out, make sure and go on railcarfinegoods.com. And we'll see you on podcast number 3 coming to you soon.